Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 21 of the Half Brothers podcast. My name is Jacob,
My name is Glenn.
and we are in fact half brothers. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Do a quick Google search real quick. Actually, do it after the episode of this podcast. As you can tell, setup's a little bit different today. No mic in my face. Don't know what happened. Just started talking before we were gonna record like we normally do, and it didn't work out. So hopefully the audio and everything's not too bad for you guys. I feel like my video recording is not usually very good, so I'm hoping this might make it a little bit better. So, but yeah, what do you want to talk about today, Glenn?
So I think something that everyone's excited about right now over the weekend, it's finally back. Well, I guess it was back a couple weeks ago technically, but now it's really finally back. Preseason NFL started, and with that, it means fantasy football season is right around the corner. In fact, a lot of leagues are gearing up right now, getting their rosters figured out, getting their drafts done, or their draft list, things like that, mock drafts. And actually, I got a text from Jacob today about a league that we are in, and it's getting ready to go. And in another league I'm in, they dropped the first podcast for that league. And actually, shout out to that league as well. I've been in that league about 5 years, and we do a golf scramble every year, and I've been the champion alongside my friend Blake. But this year, I will not be able to make it out there. So, I will not be a four-time golf scramble champion for the Draft Daddy League. But in Jacob and I's league, it's Buckets is what we call it. And is that still the name?
Yeah, it's Bucket Bucket. I was
It's
thinking of changing the name. I asked ChatGPT for some ideas, but it wasn't very inspiring. But
I like
I've
the
got
name.
some. You like the name?
I like the name, but if we have a better one, we can choose it. But I like the tradition of keeping the name if everyone else is down with it. We could also do a vote. That's beside the point. The point is, it's fantasy football time. We're getting our draft list ready, our kind of our board set up, and with that, preseason week 1 is officially in the books. And so we got a few good looks at some rookies. So we're going to talk about my favorite rookie, Shedeur Sanders, and how he looked. We're going to talk about Jacob's top picks that he's trying to get this year. And we're just going to talk about the top rankings that we see on the ESPN website. Am I missing anything, Jacob?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so, especially because I didn't know we were gonna be doing my top picks. Um, just a little bit of backstory for all you guys. I used to be really good at fantasy football, like really good at fantasy football. I'd be in the championship, 1 or 2 seed every single year. Couldn't win the championship. I'd be in it. I'd lose most of the time, but I'd be in it every year, every single year. And then I finally won it. The next year I got last place, and I have been fighting to not get last place every year since. I won it a couple years ago. I used to do a podcast with my buddy Caleb. We did a live draft on the podcast one year. Um, and that year was when I won the championship. It was actually me and Caleb in the championship. It was super poetic. And that was the year I won the championship. I think that was 2020. I think that was the COVID year. And won the championship and have been fighting to not get last place ever since. So I don't know what happened. I still watch just as much football as I used to. I just am not good at fantasy football anymore, and I'll be completely honest. It is probably the thing that breaks my heart most in this world. It is the thing that breaks my heart most in this world. The fact that I suck at fantasy football all of a sudden. Used to be really good at it. Now I just absolutely suck. I don't know what happened. So don't take any of my advice. Anything you hear me say, do the exact opposite on this podcast. Um, Glenn, on the other hand, is pretty good. Glenn's always fighting for a playoff spot. I think Glenn's been in our league. You've been in our league, what, 3, 4 years now? Maybe longer than that?
How long has the league been going on? That's what I want to know. I think I've been in it since it started, right? Or did I replace
Yeah.
someone? Okay.
Yeah. So we started it when I was in high school, my
Oh,
freshman year of
wow.
high school first
Okay.
started.
Okay,
So it's
wow.
always been me, my stepdad, Nick, I think has always been in it. He might have joined like the second year. Trevor's always been in it. And then since I've known Caleb, he's always been in it. So, like us five have been in it for a very long time. Most of the people have been in it for, at least 5+ years. We did add 2 new members this year just because one of them was looking for a league. He's my boy. I was like, you know what? I'll ask my roommate if he wants to do it too. He wanted to do it, so we added 2 new members. We actually added 3 new members, but we had to replace one guy for the last second. Um, yeah, I went into his office today and I was like, "You scumbag, you're the scum of the year. You just texted me saying you don't want to do it anymore." It was honestly hilarious. But anyway,
Unreal. Now, why do you think you suck at fantasy football now, Jacob? Are you not paying attention to football as much? Are you, maybe, and if you have just so much of a life now that you don't have as much time for it, that's a good thing. Or you're just not into it. What is it? Why, how can you go from being this all-time great to fighting to not get last?
Dude, I'll be real. It's hard to tell you. I think it's because I don't talk about football as much. Because I still watch just as much football as I used to. Anytime the Packers are on TV, I always watch them. I watch most Browns games just because they're usually always televised. There will be time. I don't make it a priority to watch Browns games. Like if I'm not doing anything on like a Sunday and they're playing at 1 p.m., the Browns game is on TV. If I have like if somebody asks me to do something during a Browns game, I'm gonna go do that thing because like I'm not a Browns fan. It's not a heartbreaker for me if I don't watch the game. But if the Packers are playing and it's like a primetime game, or it's like if I like check the TV schedule and I see that I can watch it on TV, I'm not making plans on watching the Packers game. Um, but yeah, I really don't know what it is because like last year I felt like I tried paying more attention last year than I had in years past and still did so bad. So it's so hard for me to say because I don't feel like I'm watching significantly less football. But with the way it's going, it seems like that's what it seems like I'm not a football fan at all, to be honest. That's what it
Wow.
seems like. I mean, getting last place every year, like
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the fact that you said I'm good at fantasy football is laughable to a lot of people in the Draft Daddies league that I am in because I was the back-to-back loser in that league. And I think last year, let's see, no. Uh, the last 2 years I did not lose, but the first 2 years of the league I was the back-to-back loser, and last year was the first time that I almost made it into the playoff bracket. Now that being said, I was the champion of a legacy league that I was in for a few years, and then I think I've won our league once a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure, but so I'm not bad at fantasy football. I'm actually pretty good at it. But if you ask the 13 people in my other league, they think that I am terrible. I think it's because when you have so many leagues, you forget to set the lineups on some. And then, in that league, I would forget to set the lineup some weeks because I'm just like, so busy. I have such a cool life. Uh, you know, and so it just was, it was a lot of work. Also, those guys, man, the league of like casual fans like myself, I do well in. But these guys are diehard NFL nerds. And they're like, they know all the stats, they check every single thing. So that's why they think I'm really bad. With that being said, I'm going to pull up who the top 200 are right now. We're not going to go through all 200, but I kind of want to hear your thoughts on these are the players that are at the top of the depth chart right now, as far as like who we should draft. So this is the PRR, or excuse me, PPR rankings on ESPN for fantasy football. I'll jump into it, Jay, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on these players and how you think
yeah.
their season will go. Are they a good pick? Are they a bad pick? Will they be a first round, second round, or third round for you? And if you don't know, we can pass on that player. But let's start with this one. Number one,
I'm
wide
answering
receiver.
everything. And again, guys, don't take my advice because I'm terrible.
You'll know this one though. Number one, wide receiver out of
Jamar Chase.
Cincinnati. There we go. Talk about it.
Um, I mean, I like Jamar Chase. He's one of the best players in the NFL, but I'm not taking number one overall. No chance. Especially, I mean, our league is a PPR league. Like, absolutely not. I'm taking a running back with my first pick.
Okay.
Running backs are so much more versatile for a PPR league because one, they're gonna rush, they're gonna score a lot of touchdowns. It's like if they're on a rushing dominant team, and they're gonna catch some passes. So it's like I don't know. I'm taking a running. I always take a running back for my first pick, which maybe I shouldn't this year because I'm so bad. But maybe I should switch things up and take a wide receiver.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there a running back you have in mind? Because the number two on the top 200 is a running back, and he was my first overall pick last year, and it did pay off big time.
Saquon?
No, but he is in the top five. This
This
is a
was
top.
your number one pick last year?
This was my number one pick last year. He's the one running back ranked above Saquon. I'll tell you this right now. Saquon is 4 in this top 5 rankings that I'm looking at right now.
Is this running back you're referring to White?
No.
Whoa.
Are there? I didn't know there were any of those.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, right. Of course. There's one.
Shoot.
He plays for Atlanta.
Oh, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson is number 2.
Really?
And yeah, number 2. I mean, he had an incredible season last year. And the year before. He was very consistent for my team. In fact, he was the highest scorer, I think, every single week. And so he's number 2 and Chase is number 1. But it sounds like you being a running back first guy, which I have picked a wide receiver first every single year except for 2 years ago. And the reason I don't pick a running back first round anymore is because my first round running back got injured in week 3, and his career has not been the same since. Nicholas Jamal Chubb, I drafted with the 4th overall pick in my. Yeah, he's not dead, but it's really funny. His career as a Cleveland Browns. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, with that, I would probably go Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, who is number 3 on this list, because I'm going to go wide receiver. I've had better luck when I go wide receiver first and then running back second or third. Last year, my first 3 picks were wide receivers only because they were like the best talent at the top of the board, and I just couldn't sacrifice the drop in talent to get that next running back because all the best running backs were taken. So it's hard. I got to learn how to draft better. I will say that drafting strategy, I should not be giving anyone advice on that.
I feel like that is actually a good drafting strategy though, because that's what I used to do. I used to take like, the top player I could every single time.
Yeah.
So like say I went heavy on running backs in the first few rounds. I know I have depth at the running back position, and if I want a top tier receiver and someone needs a running back, they're going to come to me because I have depth in that position. They don't. They need something. Maybe they have something that I need. So that would actually be a strategy that I would use back in the day. I don't. I feel like the last couple of years, I try to mix it up, and I'll go running back, receiver, and then kind of just take the best player I can at that point. Honestly, this year I did. So this year, a big change that I'm making, that I haven't in the past couple of years, and I will say, I'm gonna talk a little bit here. So a change I'm making this year is I'm only doing one league. I'm only doing one league. I'm doing our league, the league that you're in with me and my friends. That's the only league I'm doing because I'm sick of getting last place in that league. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I've gotten last place pretty much every year except for like 1 year for the last like 4 or 5 years. But a couple years ago when I first started at the place that I'm working at now, they did a fantasy league and I won the fantasy league. So like within the last 2 years, I have won a fantasy league, just not the league that I care the most about, which is the league that I run with you and all my friends. So this year I made the decision that I'm not going to do any other fantasy league. I'm just going to focus on this one. I'm going to try to draft the best team possible. I'm going to make sure that I set my lineup every week. I'm going to actually pay attention. I'm going to be active on the waiver wire. So I'm hoping that, that helps change my luck around this year. I'm hoping that I can actually, make something happen. But I don't know. We'll see. I guess I didn't talk for that long, but yeah, that's the big change that I'm making this year. I have won recently, just not in the league that I care most about. So I'm not that bad at fantasy football. And I will say this as well. In that league that I won, I auto drafted. Forgot that we were drafting, got auto drafted, and it worked out for me. So maybe that's what I'll do in our league.
Bro, that's a thing, man. I feel like sometimes we overthink it, and the auto draft is really just the way to go. Whatever it's suggesting, just do. And whenever I try to outsmart that, I'm like, ooh,
that wasn't a good pick.
That was not a great
You're like,
pick.
I'm going to pick this guy right here, and it's going to be such a big brain pick. And then it's like 12 seasons gone by, and you're like, I'm waiting for that guy to actually like do something for me. And then you're seeing that guy that you would have auto drafted in that position, and he's had a killer season. You're like, actually, this doesn't do that as well.
Exactly.
That's the worst.
That is the absolute worst. And the other thing is like, I am such a diehard Cleveland Browns fan that I am too optimistic in some of my players. And so my first quarterback that I chose the last 2 years was Deshaun Watson because he was no longer suspended, and I thought, okay, his suspension's over. He's going to have a breakout year. Those last few games, in that one weird year, he looked okay, and then his first year before he got hurt, he looked pretty good in a few games, and then boom, gone, and then Flacco saves the day. But then last year, he was just absolute garbage. And now he's like posting about how he's coming back and stuff. So should I draft him one more time?
No, no,
Not a
no.
chance. It's not going to happen.
You
There's
bring that
no
up,
way.
and that reminds me of a really good point. This just happened at work yesterday. Yesterday, like literally one day ago from today, this happened at work. Um, so all like the real football heads were gone, and I'm gonna be real. Even though I'm not like my placing in fantasy football has dropped drastically in the last few years. I feel like I'm a football head. I feel like I know
Mhm.
more about football than most people. Um, unless you're like a football coach, like my one buddy's a football coach. It's he
Right.
knows more about football than me. I'll give it to him. But I will say I feel like I am a football head. I feel like I know a lot. And my boss said to me the other day, I said, because I sent you the post about Con Coward talking about the Browns tanking to get Arch Manning and Nick Saban
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Love that, love that. Would love to see Arch Manning in a Cleveland Browns uniform. The thing
He's
I
not even
disagree with,
going to come in the draft next year. He's probably
maybe
going to.
not, maybe
No,
not.
that'd be stupid.
But the thing I disagree with is Nick Saban. Don't care.
No.
I don't think Nick Saban's a bad coach. He hasn't proven himself in the NFL. Kevin Stefanski has done more for the Browns organization than me and you have seen any other coach do in our entire lifetime. The Browns have been so bad for so long because they lack stability in the head coaching department. And Kevin Stefanski has provided that stability. He's brought them to the playoffs twice. They had a playoff drought. My entire lifetime, I had not seen the Browns play a playoff game. And Kevin Stefanski not only broke that, but he helped them win a playoff game. They need to just ride it out with Kevin Stefanski until Kevin Stefanski freaking dies.
They need to
Or
let him
until they
do
go
his
0
job.
yeah, just
That's the thing. They don't even let him. He's been there. He's stable. They haven't fired him, but they still interfere. Jimmy Haslam interferes. Andrew Berry interferes. Let the coach coach. You get the players on the roster. You sign the checks. Let the coach coach the freaking team, okay?
yeah.
Because you know what happens when you don't let the coach coach the team and do what he wants to do? You draft Johnny Manziel. You draft Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders, who absolutely cooked in his first NFL preseason game. Did he look perfect? No, but he looked damn good. He looked better than a fourth-string quarterback, I can tell you that
Yeah.
much. So let Kevin Stefanski cook, let him do his thing, because every time you step in, something bad happens, man. Like they forced Deshaun on him. They forced him to hire Ken Dorsey. They're just setting him back.
So here's what I'll say about the Shador thing.
Let's talk
I
about
mean,
Shador Sanders.
one looks brilliant because they drafted him in the fifth round. And he played really well. Played really well, and then after the game, when they asked him how good he played, see, I give myself a C minus. Passing because we won, but I didn't play that well. Okay, love that, love that. Absolutely
Yeah, I
love
would agree
that.
with
Like,
him.
played really well, and you're giving yourself a C minus. Love it. Didn't throw any picks. Didn't make any crazy mistakes. Love that. Um, and the Browns kind of look like geniuses taking him. Next thing I'll say about that, didn't look like Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski wanted to draft him. I heard the rumors that it was Jimmy Haslam's call to draft Shador right there. Um, so like maybe that was a decent decision. Anyway, I'll move on and I'll get back to my
No, there's no reports that confirm Jimmy Haslam was the one to do that. In
maybe
fact, when
not
he was asked
confirmed, but
about it, he
rumors.
said that was Barry's decision. I mean, he literally said in the interview, he said, if you would have told me that we were going to draft Shador Sanders on Saturday, I would have said you're blowing smoke. So Jimmy Haslam even confirmed he didn't even want to draft him. So
People lie. People don't always tell the truth. Anyway, back to my thing with work. Um, So we're talking, and I'm saying that, hey, Arch Manning would be a great addition to the Browns. I think this kid can really sling it. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. His last name's Manning, for crying out loud. Like I think that could be the thing that would, make the Browns a legit team is having Arch Manning at quarterback. And my boss says to me, Arch Manning's not better than Joe Flacco. I said, what? What are we talking about right now? I said, Joe Flacco's like 100 years old. You're telling me you want Joe Flacco at quarterback over Arch Manning? You'd rather have Joe Flacco at quarterback over Arch Manning? Like, I understand Arch Manning hasn't played it down in the NFL yet. He might be a total bust, but
he hasn't played much in college either.
He hasn't played much in college, but he's got a lot of upside potential. I think he's going to have a good year this year. I could be totally wrong. I could, he could have a terrible year this year. He's not going to look anything like, either of his uncles. But I think that he's going to be a pretty good NFL quarterback. But here's where the egregious part.
I agree.
Then they started saying there was multiple people, like my boss and my roommate, because my roommate worked with me. They both started saying that Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. And I
Right
started
now.
losing my mind. Don't. All right.
Right
All
now,
right. We'll
absolutely,
start. We'll
brother.
start. We'll start.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
I'll show
Look,
you. I'll show you those reports right now. I'll
Aaron
look
Rodgers.
at the
Aaron
numbers
Rodgers
over the
was the
last 4 seasons.
Aaron
Absolutely,
Rodgers
Joe
was the
Flacco.
start. No,
Or
absolutely not.
3 seasons.
Aaron Rodgers was the starting quarterback of the New York Jets the last year. He would have been the starting quarterback for the New York Jets the year before. The New York Jets are arguably the worst run franchise in the NFL. The team that you can argue is the worst run franchise in the NFL is also the Cleveland Browns. Those are probably the two worst franchises in the NFL, worst run franchises in the NFL. Not talking about history. The Browns probably have, the best history out of almost any team in the NFL. But currently, to this day, worst run franchises, those are probably the two worst. In Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter, first full year getting to actually play football for the New York Jets, they fired his head coach halfway through the season. That's not a great look. That doesn't really help a whole lot. And he had Garrett Wilson. He got Devontae Adams halfway through the season. His offensive line wasn't great. The run game wasn't great. He didn't have many pieces. And we're also forgetting that this man is a 4-time MVP, won the MVP 2 or 3 years ago, went back to back. We're saying Joe Flacco's better than this guy? I won't stand for it.
Not
I'm not the biggest
career.
Rodgers guy. That's what they were saying.
No,
they were
not
saying right
career.
now. Two, they were saying career. They were saying both. I won't stand for the slander on Aaron Rodgers. He was the quarterback that I got to watch win the Packers a Super Bowl. I don't love the guy. He's probably my favorite Packers quarterback of all time. I wish there were some things that he did differently. But he won the Packers a Super Bowl. He won 4 MVPs. He is arguably the best thrower of the football the NFL has ever seen. Maybe not the best decision maker, maybe not the best, overall quarterback, but he's the best thrower of the football. He throws the prettiest football out of any quarterback in NFL history, arguably. I will say arguably. You can argue with me, and there's some other answers that you can take. But to say that Joe Flacco is better than that guy, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, and 2 or 3 seasons later, they drafted his replacement because he wasn't very good. He was out of the league until the Browns called him and said, hey, we need some help at quarterback. And he revived their season. I will say, he's not a bad quarterback. He's not, as bad as a lot of other quarterbacks are. He's one of the best Browns quarterbacks of all times, and he's only played 2 seasons for him, 1.5 seasons for him. He hasn't even played this season yet for him. He's one of their best quarterbacks of all time. He is not Aaron Rodgers. He's nowhere near Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is top 5 quarterback of all time. This is another thing they were saying, that Aaron Rodgers is not a top 5 quarterback of all time. Won't tolerate that slander. He's absolutely a top 5 quarterback of all time. When I said Aaron Rodgers is top 5 quarterback of all time, they said absolutely not. I said name them. I said name the 5 quarterbacks that are better than Aaron Rodgers. The first answer my roommate said was Joe Burrow.
Okay, all right. Well, we don't need to talk about. Listen, your friends in Boss, they sound like cool guys. We don't need to talk about how wrong they are on football takes, but I'm sure they're fun to hang out with.
They're imbeciles. They're imbeciles. They're absolute idiots, and I hate them. I'm just kidding. I love them. I love them.
I'm going to tell you why you're right about Aaron Rodgers' career better than Flacco, for sure. Better than Flacco, definitely. He was at a better. The Ravens have a great organization, but there was a lot of drama going on after the Flacco Super Bowl where they won. There was some off the field stuff bothering their team, and then Flacco had an injury, and then also their offense just wasn't that good anymore. Their line was terrible. Flacco was getting sacked. They eventually, drafted Lamar Jackson. It's not because Flacco was terrible, but it's not because he was good. So I'll agree with you there. Aaron Rodgers' career, by far better than Joe Flacco. But I want to talk to you real quick about, I want to mention a few quarterbacks over their last 17 starts. These are the top 5 quarterbacks over the last 17 starts. Okay? C.J. Stroud, 3,760 passing yards. He's at number 5 with 18 touchdowns. So these are the top 5 in the last 17 starts.
In their last 17 starts or in the last 17?
In the last, in each. So if you put every quarterback in their last 17 starts. Okay. It's not the last 17 weeks. It's in each individual quarterback's last 17 starts. These are the statistics.
Okay.
At number 5, C.J. Stroud. That's pretty good. 18 touchdowns. He's only 2 years in? Okay.
Yeah.
So Justin Herbert, at number 4, 23 touchdowns, 3,968 passing yards. Okay. At number 3, Josh Allen, 3,731 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. That's insane. Number 2,
No freaking way.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
4,165
freaking
passing yards,
way.
28 touchdowns. Number 1, 4,755 passing yards and 32 touchdowns. Joe freaking Flacco, man. This is DraftKings report. You can look it up on ESPN,
How many
CBS
touchdowns?
Sports.
How many interceptions?
32 touchdowns. It doesn't have the interceptions here. But
That's crazy.
But these are the top 5 passing yards and touchdown ratings over each individual quarterback's last 17 starts. So right now, I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't even in that over the last few years. He got hurt. I get it. I'm just saying right now, if I'm going to take, I mean, we talked to Aaron Rodgers and we talked to Joe Flacco. Right now, with where my team is at, I want Joe Flacco because he's going to be better on the field now than Aaron Rodgers is now. And he's going to be a better mentor than Aaron Rodgers will be to young kids right now. So that's why right now in 2025, 2026, Joe Flacco is better than Aaron Rodgers. But there's only 2 or 3 seasons where you can ever say that about Joe Flacco over Aaron Rodgers. And one is the year that Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl. That was just such an elite year for him. And that playoff run he had was insane. No one picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl that year. No one said that Flacco was good enough to win. I mean, dude, he was beating, that was Brady, Manning, Phillip Rivers. Like we still had
49ers at like one of their peaks. Like
exactly.
Kaepernick was lighting the league on fire.
Exactly. Yeah. So is Joe Flacco elite? Yeah. But he's not, but he doesn't have a better career than Aaron Rodgers, for sure. He's had 2 or 3 better seasons than Aaron Rodgers. And I just think Aaron Rodgers, though, the last few seasons, he's just like, he got hurt and he's washed. But in the prime of their career, no one's touching Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think I can have this conversation with anybody again because I'm about to start rooting for the Steelers this year with all the slander my boy's doing.
I didn't give Aaron Rodgers any slander. I just gave you facts and stats. I mean, I just said Aaron Rodgers in his prime and every other year, yeah, way better than Joe Flacco.
Maybe not slander, but like, I don't know. I think Joe Flacco, like, I think his best years have been the Super Bowl year and then his playoff year with the Browns. Other than that, I think dude is dog water. Like,
yeah, and last year he had a really good year too. I'm just showing you the current statistics, right? So I'm asking you right now, if the Packers could have one quarterback right now to win this year, and it was between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, based off the last few seasons,
there's absolutely no question.
Who would you pick?
There's absolutely no question. It's Aaron Rodgers.
I would pick Joe Flacco all the way, and I'm glad we got Flacco, not Aaron Rodgers. I think this year, let's come back to this. We'll archive this.
I mean, asking me that question is very different than asking me, like, if I was the GM of the Raiders and I had to pick between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. If I'm the Packers and I have the chance to pick between Joe Flacco, who is now at this point like a journeyman in the NFL, or our legendary quarterback who had
that's fair.
a Super Bowl.
Let me ask you this: if you're the Raiders.
I mean, if
you want to win,
you told me yes, I'm taking Joe Flacco.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers has a great year this year. I hope he does because I've always liked Aaron Rodgers as a football player, and I want to see him go out well. I hate seeing the legends of our era kind of die out and fall and not look good on their way out.
That's why I love Peyton Manning's retiring.
Oh, like, so good.
Wins a Super the whole year. I'm talking about how dude's washed. He's got a noodle arm. Can't throw anymore. Finds a way to win a Super Bowl for the Broncos, who hadn't won a Super Bowl in who knows how long, and goes out on top. Like, just beautiful, poetic. Like, love to see something like that. Like a legend going out like a legend, out legendary. Like your last season ever, you win a Super Bowl. Like that was awesome.
And now I love this has turned into the Is Flacco Elite podcast. If we can shift for a minute because we started talking about it, but I want to go back just because it's the talk of the NFL right now because it's preseason. We're talking about a 5th round pick more than anyone else. Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so did you watch his highlights? Did you watch any of the plays? You mentioned your thoughts a little bit, but like he looked pretty good. But overall, what's your vibe right now as a non-Browns fan? What you've seen of Shedeur Sanders?
I didn't watch anything.
Okay, amazing. That's
I
great.
saw the stat line, and the stat line looked good. I mean, maybe it's just because I grew up with Rodgers as the Packers quarterback. the thing Aaron Rodgers does is he doesn't throw interceptions. So that's what I
Right.
got used to. Not throwing a lot of picks, not turning the ball over a lot.
Shador threw 0 interceptions on
Which is
Friday.
which is what I was very impressed with. Like a lot of these rookie quarterbacks, especially like the Johnny Manziel's, the Baker Mayfield. Like even though Baker Mayfield, I gave him a bad rap on his MVP, even like he's a legendary Cleveland Browns quarterback who led them to their first playoff win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is their biggest rival. He threw a lot of interceptions. He wasn't scared to throw the ball. He wasn't scared to gun it. Which is not something I necessarily love out of my quarterback, but at the same time there's a lot of quarterbacks who have had success. Peyton Manning threw the most picks out of any rookie quarterback ever in his rookie year, and he's Peyton Manning. Eli threw a lot of picks throughout his career. There's a lot of elite top 5 Hall of Fame quarterbacks who have thrown a lot of interceptions in their career. That doesn't necessarily make you, not throwing picks doesn't make you the best quarterback of all time. So that's something I've kind of started to change my mind to, is recognizing like, hey, just because you don't throw a lot of interceptions doesn't make you the best quarterback in the NFL. So I mean, who knows? Maybe I didn't watch it. Maybe he should take a little more risk. But his percentage was also pretty good. That was the thing that I didn't love about Aaron Rodgers. Is he would take a lot of sacks and his passing percentage wasn't always the highest. Like he would incomplete a lot of passes just because he was trying not to throw an interception. But Shador Sanders, he incompleted 7 passes?
I'll go over his stats real quick. So there were a couple balls that should have been intercepted, I will say. Okay. He definitely was taking some risk, but he also, his 2 touchdown passes. So he was 14 of 23 with a 60% completion percentage, 138 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 106.8, which is pretty damn good for a guy that never got reps with the first team. They literally had him passing the ball to janitors and like facility staff because they have 5 other quarterbacks there that are taking reps, and they put him dead last.
Bro.
What's that? Oh yeah, I have no idea. Idea what's. It's just. He's a 5th round pick. He's a 5th round pick. They never thought he was that good. I guess for whatever reason, they think Dillon Gabriel is so special. They think Kenny Pickett is so special. And Joe Flacco's the safe.
That organization is good. Dillon Gabriel. I mean, sure, he lost one game to an absolutely insane Ohio State team last year, but like he wasn't that impressive in college. I watched more college football last year than I've watched in the past 8 years.
Bro, the dude is a short king, and the shortest of kings. Okay, yeah. And I have respect for him. The dude's a sexy dude. He's an athletic dude. He's a good looking passer. Like he's a good football player.
But my bro, Kenny Pickett is like, dude, seems like a head case, bro. Like you got yourself kicked out of Pittsburgh because they wanted you to have a little bit of competition.
Yeah,
and like you're like people talk about height, size, and quarterbacks. I think hand size is even more important, being able to fully grip a football. And they said that Kenny Pickett's got like the smallest hands in the NFL. Like, why are we talking about either of these guys? Like, it should be the QB battle should be between Joe Flacco and Shador.
I agree, and we're gonna see what happens because next week in the preseason game, when Dillon Gabriel gets some reps, if he does poorly, then I think it's gonna move to he's going 4th on the list. But I want to see what they got. But with Shador, he did what he needed to do in his first run. Now, the one thing I don't love about Shador, if you watch his highlights, he doesn't throw a spiral. He's got a wobbly ball.
Shador?
But his placement is there every time. So he is the most accurate quarterback in FBS history. Did you know this? All-time FBS career completion percentage leader at 71.8%.
And he had one of the worst offensive lines in all of college football last year.
49 straight games with a touchdown pass. That's the longest active streak in NCAA history. He set Colorado's single-season record in passing yards, which was 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns with a completion rate of 74%.
With the worst offensive line in college football last year.
Yep. Was it really that? He was running a lot. He was running a lot last year.
Terrible offensive line.
So over 14,000 yards, 134 touchdowns with a TD to interception ratio of nearly 5-1 in his college career. Wow.
That's really good. Like, if you're telling me my quarterback has thrown 5 touchdowns and 1 interception on a game, I'm like, that's an absolute dub. What are we talking about? That's a dub.
Yeah. This man was projected to potentially be a top 5, top 10 pick, and he fell in the 5th round. So either he's not as good as these college stats, and we don't see it, but NFL scouts see it, or there is a personal reason as to why he was drafted so
Why do
low.
you think he
Because,
fell so low?
dude, I have no idea. Cockiness, attitude. Maybe there's something we don't see. I don't know. People don't want the mess. Maybe they think he's a head case. I don't know. But all I know is the organization that drafted Baker Mayfield #1 when he had all his off-field drama. He had real. He got arrested. He
Yeah.
literally is on TV. You had Johnny Manziel drafted, bro. You literally traded your best quarterback ever since the 1999 season when you came back in the expansion to get a freaking predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
It's
just make bad
just
decisions. But
and instead of getting Travion Henderson, they got Judd. What's his name? Our running back that just like beat the crap out of his girl.
yeah, Judkins.
Judkins. Yeah, Quinshon Judkins. Dude. And you're gonna tell me Shador is you're worried about Shador. Give me a break, man. He's overperforming. He's outdoing all these quarterbacks. And I think you're right. I think it should be Flacco and then Shador. So I'm rooting for Shador. We'll see what happens next week in preseason. But speaking of preseason, did you watch any preseason? If not, I can give you a quick recap of the scores.
I watched the Giants Colts game because Steve was watching it and he betted on it and we started talking about it.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the Giants didn't play the Colts. So
Who'd they play?
the Giants played the Bills and the Colts
the game we
played the
watched.
Ravens. Okay.
We watched
Gotcha.
the Giants and Bills game.
Yeah. Looks like Russ Wilson and Jackson Dart both had a good game. And they won 34-25. Did you have any thoughts from that game? Were you paying attention to Jackson Dart, their rookie quarterback that they drafted? Because they also have a big QB battle going on in New York.
Yeah. Didn't look as good as I thought he was going to look. So originally I wanted the Browns to take Jackson Dart. I thought he was going to be the guy out of this quarterback. Didn't think that at first. This one guy at my work was super high on him, so I looked into him a little bit, and I was like, yeah, he's the guy. I think he's the one. And wasn't necessarily as impressed as I thought I would be. Then again, it's preseason. It's literally his first NFL game ever. It's not even like a real game necessarily, but that's his first time going into an NFL stadium and playing NFL football. I understand, in college nowadays, they almost mimic the atmosphere as well as they possibly can, but it's not the same. So, there's that, bit of like excuse necessarily. I don't want to say that, but like that's the best word I can think of right now, to give him. But yeah, wasn't as impressed as I thought I was gonna be. And it could also be like, there's a lot of times where I'll go, I love watching movies. I love going to the movie theater, seeing a new movie. And a lot of the time I will tell myself this movie is not gonna be that good. Because anytime I've gone to a movie thinking this movie is going to be awesome, it's not as awesome.
Right.
The expectation versus reality just doesn't always match up. So I always try to like lower my expectations. That way, things can exceed them. So that could also be a case of Jackson Dart here. Me just thinking higher, like me putting too high of expectations on him than he could really live up to, especially in his first game ever. But yeah, I wasn't as impressed with him as I thought I was going to be. Was significantly more impressed with Shador.
Yeah, and you haven't even seen a play from Shador's game, so that's really good to hear. The stats don't lie though.
I did see one play.
I was gonna say you have an Instagram.
I was gonna say I saw one play on Instagram, and I loved what I saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting pressured in the pocket. He took one step out of the pressure. Somebody picked up the pressure, and he made a throw down the field. It was an accurate throw, got a completion. I think it was for a first down.
Yep.
Love that. To
he
me,
looks so calm in the pocket.
Exactly. That is elite quarterback play. All these sure, you have the Lamar Jackson who can just take off and rush for 100 yards every single game. But not every quarterback is that talented. And a lot of quarterbacks could do that in college, so they try to do that in the NFL, and it just doesn't work out. So to see Shador not even try to do that and still stand in the pocket and deliver, loved it. Loved it.
And he can't run like Lamar, but he can run better than Tom Brady. He can run better than Peyton Manning. He's got legs on him, but he's
like an Aaron Rodgers level runner.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Hopefully he can get to the passing that Aaron Rodgers have. I mean, if I like the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers, Jacob, I will say, I'll give you that. If Shador can be the next Aaron Rodgers, I will take it. Let's see. Anything else stick out from last week? Let's see. Other preseason games. Any other exciting? Did Cam Ward even play for the Titans?
I don't know.
He's the first overall pick. All right. Well, I don't see anything that was super exciting from last week. Let's just take a look real quick at next week's preseason game. See if there's anything fun coming along. Titans at the Falcons. It doesn't look like Ward is going to be playing. What's going on here? Titans backup QB Brandon Allen had to leave practice. Okay.
I will say I was not super high on Cam Ward going into the draft, and since he has been drafted, I'm like, man, this guy's gonna be, he's it.
Hmm.
He's it. He's gonna be the guy. Just based
Well,
on his interviews, based on the things that he said, based on what he's done, I very high on Cam Ward now. Like I think this guy's gonna be good.
I would like to see him. Here's his stats from last week. He only played 8. He only got 8 snaps. That's crazy. So he went 5 for 8 with a 62.5% completion percentage, 67 yards, which 67 yards for 5 passes completions is not terrible. His rating was 89.1. That's not
I
bad.
mean,
No
imagine they
touchdowns.
played one series.
Yeah, I don't get why he didn't play more. They got Will Levis and Brandon Allen playing more. That's crazy that Shador got more playing time than him. That's why we're not talking about it. But
I think that they've probably seen enough of him in practice that they're like, yeah,
that could be
this is it. This is it. We don't want him to get hurt.
You could be right. I would just want to give a rookie a little bit more, but maybe this week against the Falcons they will. So the other big game on Friday, primetime, is Chiefs versus Seahawks. I don't think we need to see anything from the Chiefs, but with the Seahawks,
I still hate the Chiefs.
yeah, I still hate the Chiefs as well. Nothing exciting here. Browns Eagles. For me, that'll be an exciting game. We'll get to see more Shador, and we'll get to see Dylan Gabriel, I believe, as well. So that'll be telling. I know it's preseason, but the Eagles just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And that actually just reminded me. I can't believe I forgot this. Did you see the picture of the Browns quarterbacks on the bench when Shador completed his first touchdown pass?
No, I did not.
Dylan Gabriel and Deshaun Watson look like somebody just told them their mom died. And Joe Flacco is grinning ear to ear.
Oh, I love that. I got to see that. You got to send that to me and find it, dude. That's amazing.
Joe Flacco looks like he is so happy. He is so excited for Shador. And the other two guys look like, man, we're about to be out of the job.
That's amazing. That is incredible. See, that's you got to get rid of those guys. Trade Gabriel. Deshaun can go away forever, and keep Flacco. I honestly think if you got Flacco, Pickett, and Shador on the depth chart, that's fine. That's a good QB room right now. Okay, if they think Pickett is really, they're saying that Pickett, the only reason we think he's so bad is because he was with the Steelers when they had the worst offensive coordinator of all time, which might be right. I don't know. We'll see.
But it's like he didn't even compete against Jalen Hurts last year. I mean, granted, I guess that's not even a great thing to say because Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl MVP, but.
I don't think we'd say he's elite, but is he decent? We'll see. So, Packers are playing the Colts. Anything big you want to see from your Packers in preseason? Any rookies or folks that you need to take a look at?
I mean that receiver we got. I think his name's Matthew Golden. I'd love to see him perform a little bit, but I don't think Jordan Love's playing this week. I think he just had surgery on his thumb, non-throwing hand. So all right. So yeah, I think not going to see much in that game. Honestly, I don't really care about preseason. Don't care about preseason at all. Other than starting to find out about some rookies and everything. But I think Matthew Golden's gonna be a good. I think he's a top guy, and I'm super excited. We got two new receivers. One guy at work the other day was asking me. He was like, "Hey, why don't you guys trade us one of those young receivers you got?" I said, "All right, who you want?" He said, "Give me Jordan Reed." And I said, "Absolutely not, absolutely not." I said, "Don't touch Matthew Golden and Jordan Reed." I was like, "Anybody else you want?" You know, so you want Christian Watson? We'll give it to him. We'll give it to him. We'll give him up. Tell me what you want. And yeah, no, but yeah, Jordan Reed, Matthew Golden, they got to stay on the team. They gotta keep doing what they're doing. And I'm honestly very, very, very excited. I'm not gonna sit here and say we're gonna win the Super Bowl. I think we're gonna make playoffs. I think we can compete for our division title again. We haven't competed for it in a couple of years. I think we can compete for our division title again. And I think the next couple of years we're gonna show ourselves as a real threat to be in Super Bowls and be competing for Super Bowls. Now that Jordan Love's got more than one guy to throw to, so Christian Watkins or Watson, whatever his name is, could have been good. Just can't stay healthy. Cannot stay healthy. Dude is too fast and too big for his own good. Like he can't stay healthy. If he could, dude, oh my goodness, man, we'd have such a receiving corps if that guy could stay healthy. But he can't stay on the football field. When I started doing GOTA, they have this motto, and they definitely didn't come up with it. Somebody else came up with it, but it's It's something I now almost live by, and I preach all the time to people. Your best ability is availability. You don't do me no
Mm,
good sitting on the sideline. I want you out on the field. I want you playing. I want you giving 100% effort. So if you can't be out on the field, if you can't be playing, if you can't be doing the thing you're getting paid to do, you ain't
right,
that good.
right.
You ain't that good. Your best ability is availability.
Preach. Preach that, homie.
Hey, I'm trying to.
Well, I feel like, once we watch a little more preseason, maybe once we get to week 1 of the NFL season, we can kind of talk our playoff picks, our Super Bowl picks, once we have more data gathered and we see who's starting the season, who's looking good, who's not. But we'll just leave it at that for today as far as the fantasy and football podcast goes. Jacob, anything else you wanted to talk about as we're kind of wrapping up?
Um, yeah, no, not really.
Amazing.
I think that was a pretty good one. We were saying that we're going to talk about fantasy football, and we kind of just talked about football, but it was a good podcast.
We
Gave
talked
some
about
hot takes.
fantasy, had some hot takes. We talked about Flacco being elite, Flacco versus Rodgers. Who's better? Who's better mostly? Who's better now? And yeah, we did talk Shador. We talked about the Shador. So I feel like we covered some pretty big topics in the football world, especially if you're a Cleveland fan or a Packers fan. But when we do get our fantasy draft done in our league, Jacob and I can share our rosters and we can talk about how we're feeling about our teams at that point, because Jacob's been down on himself, but this is the year that he's going to make the comeback. And I am going to continue being elite in buckets, and I'm going to make my way up in the Draft Daddy League this year. So I only have 2 leagues this year. I did cut a league out, the one that I was the champion of last year. I said, I'm the last real champion. This is the never seen one team,
17.
and I'm gone, baby. So I walked away with the gold.
Let me ask you this before we get out of here. You got the number 1 pick in your fantasy draft. Who you taking?
I got the number 1 pick in my fantasy draft.
Who you taking?
It's me versus the aliens. I
Yeah.
want Iguodala. No, that was just a reference to Max Kellerman. You don't get that?
No.
Dude, that's insane. Oh my gosh, you've really lived under a freaking rock for the last 10 years, Jacob. Come on.
Bro,
I'll
don't
send
tell
it to you
people
another
about my
time.
house, bro.
What's up?
Don't tell people about my house, bro.
Nah, yeah, dude, there's aliens surrounding your house. If I had the first pick in the fantasy draft this year, let me look at this. Let me look at this list again here, just to refresh. I mean, Bijan was so good for me last year that I think I would go Bijan Robinson. But an honorable mention would be Saquon Barkley. I would go Saquon. But I am a running back first guy. I think that that is the way to go. They produce, they just have so many opportunities to produce points, especially late in games. If even if your team's winning, but they just need a few more downs, it's like they'll get a few yards. That's where I'd go. What about you? Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco, number 1 pick overall.
For sure, dude. You got me. No, I'm a big guy on. I'll draft every other position on my team, draft a couple bench players, and then draft a quarterback.
There you go.
Most quarterbacks, their play is just so similar that like you can usually get a good one drafting really late. I don't know. I really don't know who my first pick would be. I'm leaning towards Saquon, but then I'm like, is he gonna repeat the same as he did last year? Like, are people not gonna, key onto it? Are they not gonna load the box more? Are they, they gotta find a way to stop him. Like
Yeah.
he's not gonna have 2 years in a row where he rushes for almost 2,000 yards, right? Like, that's not gonna happen, right?
That's a risk you always take in fantasy football, going
I
off
mean,
last year because you can't tell the future.
I always loved Saquon. He's been one of my favorite players since he's come in the league. Huge Christian guy, so like it makes me root for him even more. Um, but yeah, I right now, if I had the first thing in the draft, I'd take Saquon.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Bijan and Saquon, folks. Thank you for listening to the Half Brothers podcast. Until next time, my name is Glenn.
My name is Jacob.
And we are
Half
Brothers. Peace.
Never before seen 17. No longer. Never before seen. Just sad day. And those of you who don't know, Glenn was there to witness that. And
I
Glenn
was
was
there.
Glenn was cheering for Cody Rhodes.
I was not cheering for Cody
How
Rhodes.
disgusting.
And you know what? Saturday, I mean, next week when I see Jacob in person for a special pod, we'll talk about that a little bit. I'll talk about my SummerSlam experience. But until then, thank you. Have a nice day and keep smiling. Jacob, I love you, brother. Have a good one.
Love you too, dog.